In the morning when I leave my den, I moisturize with the tears of men. Stir my tea with a crucifix. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. In the evening when I'm on the rag, just rip up a couple of American flags. Take a nice hot bath in the blood of the rich. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. I try to think, but it hurts my brain, so I have an abortion and I find champagne. I'm a Jezebel, I'm a wicked witch. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. Weekends when I want some fun, castrate a man, take away his guns, drive a classic car into a ditch. I'm an ugly, nasty, call me bitch. Well, I know I am, but what are you? Some fascist bootlick Nazi tool, a whiny boy with a tiny dick, or a dumb fuck redneck backward hick. Did I get it right? Did I peg you yet? Maybe we don't know who we ain't met. Maybe nobody wins, but the already rich. If you're a dumb redneck and I'm a commie bitch.
Hello. So this is our first episode of Go Ask Your Folks. It's been a really long time coming. We've been in development for, a year and a half now. A lot of life happened. I'm Leslie, by the way.
I'm Will. Nice to meet everybody.
And with us is my best friend, Anita. Can you hear us, Anita?
Yes, I hear you well. Hello, too.
Hey, how you doing, sweetheart? It's good to see your face.
Oh, your face as well.
Anita's been on the road for a little bit, so we thought maybe she'd be back in time for us to be in person, but this is just as good. So basically, for our first episode, we just wanted to talk a little bit about who we are and why we're doing this, what we hope to get out of it, and we're trying to do this really neat experiment, trying to build solidarity through storytelling. And we really feel that there's so much class division right now. And what we really need is unity and solidarity, or if anything's going to change at all. And until we understand each other's experiences, until we get a chance to relate, or even just to hear things that we never knew existed before out of the mouths of people that it's happening to, we're not going to be able to build this solidarity. We're not going to be able to get anything accomplished. And so we wanted to ask our folks, which includes our families, our friends, our communities, our coworkers, our people we look up to, everybody that, we're trying to build our class solidarity with, so that we can have a revolution.
That's right.
And we are not here to argue.
No, we're here to share stories.
We're here to listen to you as well as you listen to us. Everything's done with respect, but we can't keep silence forever, because when we do, that means you're okay with what's happening. And we want to come together as one.
I think a lot of people don't even know things that are happening, because unless you're dealing with it, why would you? Why would you even think that there are problems in the world that you've never encountered? And I think that's where so much of our problems are, is that we don't understand how much we have in common. I think that would help increase our respect for each other. I know I'm 46. I think I'm 46-ish, right? And just in the past, 3 years, our whole very lives have completely changed. And I say we as in Will and I, and as a collective we. We were evicted during the pandemic, which put me into a whole subculture of people that I don't want to say didn't know existed. Everybody knows homeless people exist, right? But when you're living in a hotel for years, it was literally such an eye-opening experience to me. And it started to depress me but then it really started to radicalize me.
Once you realize, the more that we talk about these things, instead of staying quiet about it, instead of acting like it's your choices that led you to this lifestyle that you're in right now, and what did you do to deserve this? The more that we all talk about it and open up about what we've been through, the more we start to see that it is a collective, systemic reality that millions of people are living through, and it's not because of individual choices that they made, but because of a set of rules and because of a culture and because of an accepted level of suffering that we have in this culture, in a nation that's one of only 2 nations in the world that doesn't acknowledge food as a basic human right. So for us to start to see the collective problems gives us the leverage and the motivation and the strength to form collective solutions.
Yeah, like you touched on there about how it's not always our fault. You know, literally, it's set up, it's working just as it's supposed to.
The system is designed as intended. I
Yeah.
was watching a
You can do
program-
all the right things and still not succeed.
I was watching a program today where they were making a point exactly about how calling 911 to get an ambulance to different zip codes will get you help in a different amount of time. So while one family can be watching their loved one get rushed off to the hospital, another family can be sitting there watching their loved one bleed to death in the streets because of the color of their skin, the language that they speak, the neighborhood that they grew up in, what have you, whatever kind of reason they've got there. And talking to each other about that makes it human. That makes it real. That takes it away from the the SVUs and the criminal intent shows and all of that. It takes it out of that and puts it into real life with our, like we said, with our neighbors, our friends, our coworkers, the people that we love.
Well, even Anita out on the road,
You
know,
mentioned
you're
earlier.
seeing this.
You've been seeing a lot of homeless people while you've been on the street.
Listen, it have been so. Oh, my heart just. I mean, where I have literally bust out in tears. In Vegas, I mean, thousands and thousands of people out. You can't even see a street because they're laying on the street, from young to old to handicapped. It just, I mean, we went to this one place where my husband unloaded. There's a train, a literally running train track, and there was the cabins, the train still sitting there. And I'm like, I was not seeing what I thought I saw. There was people laying underneath the train sleeping.
Like
It was 127 degrees.
Oh, to stay in the
Shade.
shade.
And I was like, I was one of the guys that worked there, and like, what if they would get hit by the train? And he's like, most of them know, like, when the train's gonna run. But how you, and I'm an animal lover, do not get me wrong, but I see all these damn commercials about animals. And yes, do have animals, but when do you start loving people?
Well, don't get me started on the animal thing, because I love animals too, but that is a human-made problem in itself.
Yes.
I'm not going to get on that right this second. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, we made life worse for the animals.
My heart, I mean, and you can give, I mean, because we are givers. We have called people just to come to the truck to give money, to give water, give food, or whatever. But I'm just like, when do we care? I mean, one apartment building in California, homeless, it was so cold, they go just sleep in the hall of the apartment building. They call the police. Let them in some warmth. I mean, even the ones that's in heat. I mean, let them sit in the restaurant for a little bit to cool off.
Right, you would think, right?
And I'm sure they don't report how many deaths there probably have been of homeless. And I don't care how they got there. See, that's my point. People are like, well, they did it to themselves. How do you know?
Worst case scenario, let's say they did it to themselves. Let's say they did something horrible. But I mean, aren't we taught that even the least people in the world are
At least.
still deserving of human rights?
Yes. So that means we treat them like dogs. I mean, Texas, I didn't even think. We went to Texas last week. I'm like, are those homeless people? And it was like everywhere I pretty much go. But I mean, Vegas was about my worst I have seen. I could not believe what, And then you see, like, there's where they done took over old campers that don't even have windows in it. And you're told don't go down the street because the homeless are, taking the street over. And they say that the cost of living is very expensive there. So my thing is like, why don't they place some of these people somewhere else? But then I also saw something beautiful. They had tents. And Leslie, you and I have spoken this so many times about putting homeless somewhere. So in some places in Vegas, they have tents. I saw this in California too, where they done brought all this land and they put tents out for the homeless to sleep in at night.
Okay.
And we went to a place, it was just like hundreds and hundreds of tents, and I didn't know what it was. It was some ministry started this where.
And like, I'm glad for that somebody's doing something, but I'm also kind of concerned with all of the vacant houses just literally everywhere that.
Right.
I think it's I think it's 14 per one homeless person, 14 movable, livable, instantly move-in ready residences. We're not even talking about we're in Baltimore where we are blocks and blocks and blocks of dilapidated. No, I'm talking like ready to move in houses, 14 of them for every homeless person in this country. So why are we even fucking around with tent cities?
They don't
and this is in Vegas that, and I make myself think, okay, you're trying to do something because the government apparently is not doing anything. We see that. We're too busy worrying about other countries and what they need than our own country, what we need.
Well, and we have it. We have it. It doesn't even need to be a contest. We have enough for us and everybody else. Seriously.
Yeah.
We have so much. And what I don't understand is I go around, like we were just talking about, all these vacant houses, Cash. So I go to work, I see miles and miles and miles of vacant houses, but yet I constantly see new housing being constructed all over the place, right? But yet I'm constantly hearing stories of everybody being evicted, everybody's rent going up that they can't afford. So I'm not really understanding how this is playing out. Like I said, we were evicted, in 2020, November 2020 during the moratorium. We're still homeless, we stay with someone until we can figure out our situation because we haven't been able to pay that eviction off. So that was just one, and that was like literally during the moratorium. So once that dropped off, all these other people who were victims of landlords flipping because they lost all this money during COVID, or they blew their money, or they got their loans and popped it off on whatever, and they end up saying, oh, well, now you don't qualify for your rent, and you have to make an extra $200. Oh, oops, I don't understand. I'm having a really hard time understanding.
I'm having a hard time understanding
why we're not just taking the house.
Right. I'm having a hard time.
Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know if we're allowed.
Yeah, you said that. It's okay.
We should be. They did it in
I'm
Germany.
saying, they're vacant houses. Like, we move in, we have generate.
We are the
we
people,
fix them
right?
up. Yeah.
So we are the people. So we get legislation, or we get a ballot initiative that houses that are sitting unoccupied and owned by non-residential persons by the end of the year, who are not disposed of and dispersed to the public, will then be taken over by the public for the purposes of solving houses.
There is
We
a
can
movement.
do that with ballot initiatives without even going through our representatives in some states. Not every state has that option, but if you can get the support for it in your state,
Right, because that's the
then
thing, they
you
can
could
come
get
in
a
and
ballot
arrest you.
initiative. And they
Big
did
time.
that in Germany. So I'm saying, like, it's not a question. Oh, we can't do it. Yeah, we absolutely can.
Well, there's a
We can
movement,
take-
I think it's in Virginia. There's a group that's going out and just being like, we're coming. We're
And
moving in.
the reason, I mean, there's so many reasons. There's so many
Might be
reasons to be in favor of that because
And it should be. And another thing is the issue. Why are they allowing these landlords to charge so much on rent now where, okay, cost of living haven't went up a whole hell of a lot, where you can't even get a place to live. If you did get a place, you won't be able to stay there long because you can't afford the rent.
Listen. So, right, like I said, evicted. So we're looking around. Nobody wants to talk to us. So what do we do, right? First of all, at the time I was door dashing. So nobody even, and I'm gonna be very real when I talk about DoorDash because I make pretty good money. I make pretty good money door dashing. I definitely make. So when we're living in a hotel, we're paying what, $500 a week?
yeah,
$500 a week, $2,000 a month, right? So it wasn't like I'm lazy. I was working my
Right.
ass off and I was making money, right? But we just couldn't get out. We're going and looking at places that are $1,500 a month. Now,
cheaper than we're already paying, obviously.
I love Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
My heart is in Baltimore. My grandmother had a house in Mill Hill. And if anyone is familiar with Mill Hill and the state of Mill Hill now, it's a little rough. Row houses there are $1,400. I mean, it's a rough
And
spot.
it is rough.
It's rough, okay? Nobody should be having to pay $1,400 for a 2-bedroom place. I don't care where you are anyway. That's ridiculous. And you have to have 3 times the rent as your income.
They won't count your income.
But they
if
won't
you're
count
DoorDash,
my
right?
income. Like I said, I'm paying $2,000 a month to live in a red roof,
If
right?
you're any kind of an independent contractor, then they don't count it unless you can provide. them with
Right.
years
They
worth
won't
of
count
pay
my
stubs.
income. So it's
You
$2,000.
need years worth of
That's
pay
just
for
for the room. That's
Housing
not counting.
needs to be a human right.
For a hot minute, we had no health insurance. We
Wow.
had no food stamps. You know, I was paying for all my gas. I mean, so I'm literally paying. I was probably at least $3,000 or so a month. So I mean, I had, or even 4, depending on, because we paid for a lot of other stuff. It's a lot of money. There is no reason why I should not have qualified to get in a house. Example number 2. I get my tax money back. Whole bunch of other shit, right? I have like literally $9,000 to put down on a place.
Right.
So I start calling people up. Hey, I can pay 6 months, bang up front. 6 months. And they're like,
Nope.
sorry about it. Sorry about it. What are you talking about? In some instances, I was looking at places that were, you know, in cheaper parts of wherever, and I could almost do a whole year's worth of rent. I mean, really? No. Why? Because of that eviction. What are you talking about? I don't even owe you that money, yo.
Right. Right.
What is that? I don't understand. But money, it's pretend. It doesn't matter. They're just
I'm paying you for a year. So I'm paying you for a year. So the year speaks for itself. So in a year, you know I'm not going to owe you any money
Right.
right.
because you already paid.
To me, would not even talk to me. So it doesn't matter how much money you make. It really doesn't. You know, we're sitting here at this point, we're fighting for thriving wages because this $15 bullshit, that's done. That's
Right. That's been over.
We're done with that. $30 and up. That's it. You know, thriving
And
wages.
that tells you everything that I've ever feared in my life about hyperinflation. When a year ago, 2 years ago, we were talking about wanting $15 an hour. Now we're talking about $30 an hour. That means that next year we're going to be yelling for $100 an hour because the money doesn't mean anything because it's cheaper to just burn money than firewood.
Well, look at the
And-
groceries they were just talking about. You seen that meme going around?
Yeah,
With
Kevin from Home Alone.
Yeah, the Home Alone one about the groceries and how
Mhm.
For $20 worth of groceries, $75
totally
now.
legit.
Yeah.
I went to the Dollar General the other
Yep.
day and walked out with a bag and a half of shit for $50.
Oh,
Right.
I really believe that. I mean, living out here pretty much on the truck. Oh my goodness.
Because I lived on the road too. We can share stories about how expensive it is to live on the road. People
Oh
don't-
my goodness. It is a shame what the truck stops
Mhm.
charge when you go in there. You know,
food
This
is
is how bad it is. You get, I think it's 8 wings, 8 little wingdings, 8 for almost $18. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, that doesn't sound absurd.
That's like rock show star
Mhm.
prices. That's like you're going to the
It's like a
ball
show.
game.
It's like a show, right? It is.
You know, that's why I learned to cook on the truck. I'm like, are they kidding me? Man, I buy 3 packs of chicken. Well, what chicken costs now, I can't, maybe 2 packs for $18, you know, if I catch it on sale. But I'm just like, because $30 an hour is still not a good paying job. With, okay, you know, I've been apartment hunting.
Nah.
Found this apartment in Dillsburg. It's 4 bedroom, 4 very small bedrooms. It doesn't really. It has a kitchen, but not a kitchen for a kitchen table, and has a living room. $2,300.
Yeah, that is what I don't know what they think people are made of money.
So of course I'm like, that's a damn mortgage.
Who the hell is renting houses? Like
That's more than a mortgage. Listen, I had a
it is
mortgage,
more than a mortgage.
right? Because I was mortgaging a 3 bedroom place, and actually, I say it's a 3 bedroom place because I should say it's a 4 bedroom because it was a finished basement.
That's
It was a 4 bedroom. It was a 4 bedroom place right there, and the mortgage for that was like $1,200, $1,300. So yeah, $2,300. That would have been phenomenal. That would have been twice the house.
That's some parasitic landlords right there. That's what that is. 'Cause I know that they don't got no $2,300 mortgage.
Then he told me that that was cheap because the other apartments he had the garage,
Why
and
can't
that was
these
28.
Why can't these landlords get out of our residential areas and just stick to building units?
And this is in Dillsburg. Well, the address from Mechanicsburg, but still.
Yeah, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Like, what the hell is it? No offense to Mechanicsburg.
There's
It's nice.
nothing
You know,
there.
I went up to the
There's no-
sushi heaven the other day with my
It's just
son
it's just
on a
another
date.
town.
It was great. But if there's nothing going on out there besides sushi heaven for me.
But really, Dillsburg, Dillsburg, I really would not want to live in because I don't think we would make it. That they would like me there.
Yeah, that's because you've been having some issues with that in some small towns in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you know, and I'm
That's
still gonna
one
do.
thing leading to people not being able to, rent. Again, one of these things that
Yeah,
I would not have considered because I'm white. So,
well, New Oxford, of course, you know, at a place not too far from where, you know, your son's father and them live at, and I had the place until she realized who I was.
Found out who you were. As soon as she ID'd you.
Who I were, you know. So because I protest, you know, she didn't want that in her area. But she's living to regret that one. But however, you know, I move on because no one's gonna stop me from saying what I want to say. No one's gonna stop me from believing in what I want to believe in. And I believe I can live anywhere, walk anywhere, work anywhere, eat anywhere I want to. Whether they like the shit, whether they like it or not, you know. I'm gonna always be who I am, and I'm really not going to change, huh?
Do you want to tell anybody who doesn't know you personally, who's watching, why they would have run you out of town? Why they would have not wanted to rent to you? Sorry.
Absolutely. Well, of course, I have an organization called SOP, which Leslie is on there probably more than I am lately. But she's my backbone and I'm her backbone. So she knows the reasons I'm not on there. But of course we let a lot of and I'm gonna tell everyone we ran the most nonviolent protest, which Gettysburg tried to make it look like we was violent, but we wasn't. And we fought
We are mouthy.
for our rights. And then it's really weird because when George Floyd got killed, everybody from whites, some blacks, was out there for our rights, as they told us. But found out it was for the camera. And to be put in the Gettysburg Times because all of a sudden, when shit got a little heated, mm, you forgot I was black and forgot what I was standing for, huh? But
when you need people, you see who's there.
yes, but it's like really weird. But that is why I'm not liked by many that I would go rent from. But I stand on my grounds and I said what I said. I meant what I said, and I practice what I say.
Mhm.
I don't care where I'm at. You're not gonna treat me any type of way. You're not gonna tell me what job I cannot have. You're not gonna tell me I can't walk this way. This is how bad it is. We was in Nebraska. I walk in the store. Of course, they're not used to seeing black people. I literally walk in the store to go get a drink. Tell Roderick, I'm good. I'm going in and get a drink. Everybody stopped, especially this lady and her daughter. And every time I moved, they moved. Their eyes moved and their head moved. And I'm like, maybe it's just me and not them. You know what I'm saying? But it just got to the point where, okay, I'm going to go over here. Now, if they had come over here, I know they're falling. I walked up to them and scared them a little bit. I'm like, what the you're looking at? You know, I can go wherever I want to go. And yes, I can have a mouth, but I mean what I say.
Like, why would you follow somebody around the store? I don't even understand.
No, and just like Gettysburg, okay, they said that we was protesting politically. I just heard this on the crime page. I'm gonna be really honest with everybody. I don't give a shit about politics.
Names are still even in their mouths. It's been like 2.5 years, for God's sake.
Yeah, somebody tells me, I know who you are. You're the one that was up there for voting against Trump. Nah, you know who I am because you got that all wrong. I didn't give a shit who. You know, no, I was there because the things that were happening to blacks, especially our black men, and what the police was doing to our black men, and it was wrong. They was murderers, they're killers as far as I was concerned. And yes, I was gonna stand up for that. I mean, we're living in what year is this, you guys?
Yeah, I ask myself that every day.
Yeah.
What year we're living in?
What year? And I'm gonna tell you, nothing stopped. It's just not being in the newspaper anymore. It's not being on the news anymore because they don't want the upset. They don't want what happened with George Floyd and with many others. So now we're not going to tell nobody. We're going to hush with it. Come on, wake up, people.
Well, I'm going to tell you what else is when everything went down in Lancaster. And they stamped that shit out real quick. And I know that there were a bunch of people that were in these little towns in Pennsylvania that were really afraid because they thought that they were going to get what was going on in Lancaster down in there. And the fact is they would have. And they should have.
Yeah.
But everyone was so afraid.
I know we're afraid of the line.
I mean, let's think about it. If anybody watching isn't familiar with the riot that happened in Lancaster in 2020, it was absolutely ridiculous. It was there was a protest over the murder of Ricardo Munoz. He was his mother called for a mental health call, and the police shot him. They left his body on the sidewalk for hours and hours. Absolutely disgusting. And as the protest grew, so did the resistance from the police, and they came out with tear gas and rubber bullets, and they assaulted the people. They were dispersing tear gas in residential areas. They were. It was a literal assault on the people, and
rephrase that. As the protests grew, their resistance grew. But let's be real about it, that when we showed up before the protest was even happening, they had snipers on rooftops. They had vans full of people in riot gear prepared for a fight. They did not come to talk. And when all the people, they had drones flying, and when the people were saying, "We want you to come out and answer questions," that's what they were saying into the bullhorns. People hung out. "We just want you to come down. Let's get the chief or the mayor or somebody to come out."
Yeah, they were. We want to talk.
And
What
instead,
happened?
they're circling around with drones and bringing out of military vehicles and doing all that crap.
Insane.
So it wasn't that we didn't escalate anything. We were just there. All that we did is not walk away. That's all that we did. We didn't walk away, and that's why. And then what did they do? They went around, like you said, what so many people were afraid of is they went around and started rounding people up while they were doing tasks, like they were feeding sandwiches to homeless people.
Oh yeah.
And they come around and arrest them during that process because they knew they were associated with something that happened. So yeah, everybody was on the run. Everybody was afraid. Everybody was hiding.
I mean, they were arresting people who were there as medics, and they, when it was all said and done, they were charging $1 million bail. And to follow up with that, the people who didn't plead out were found guilty. And a felony riot, which was an absolute joke. I think I was in the courtroom for one of the trials, and the way that the prosecutor described it was something along the lines of 2 or more people congregated. What should they say? 2 or more people congregated in a raucous.
2 more people.
Something.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a bar fight.
Well.
That's a couples fight.
Yep.
That's 2 kids at the playground. Like, what are you talking about? Felony riot. But that's what it is. And it's
intentionally fake.
Yep, they convicted all of them. To my knowledge, most of them, at least, I believe. Say they want us to keep being beat and the Democrats panhandling for votes. Amen. And telling us to vote for lesser 2 evils. That's right.
That's exactly what they want.
The lesser is still evil.
Because, like you pointed out earlier, how everybody came out when George Floyd was murdered in the streets. Everybody stayed out for a little while because COVID kept everybody angry and kept everybody pissed off at each other. But then as soon as they got their Biden in office, you saw how many of the people weren't really there for any kind of help. You saw how many people were there for, and we've had this conversation before, which is why.
Yeah, it's really amazing how you talk to so many people that you think is really understanding, and they can't never tell me they understand because they've never been where I've been or never been Black. So, but you can sympathize with what I'm saying, taking on the tooth to some, and then all of a sudden, you don't know my name, but it was all good, because at the end of the day, like when you got arrested, lesbian. That is something that I just saw that in the paper. Again, of course you're on YouTube.
Am I? Great.
Oh, yeah. Of course you are, girl. You're on YouTube.
Great.
I
have to look that up after the show.
I don't want it.
Because you're standing up for your rights, what you feel is right, what you feel in your heart and soul. Just like Lancaster, just like Baltimore. See, you is what I call a trooper, you and Will. You're not going to back down. You're going to stay. I mean, even with them, parading around your house?
Yeah, we get knocked down a lot.
We don't back down. We get back
You
down.
became so famous. They did a parade.
Yeah, they made me famous.
Huh?
Stupid. Like, I didn't hate all of it. I said it was just bullshit. They did it. It's like they were mad that I was around, but they were the ones that
gave us reason to be.
That right. They kept it going. I don't even understand. I don't know.
Sorry,
whatever. That was just a dark time.
But you know what? Those dark times bring us to the good times because we didn't back down. I mean, We have stood
I
in
mean,
Hanover,
it's what we
Gettysburg.
don't deal with in Pennsylvania for real.
Alone.
I don't know what good times it got us. It got us Juneteenth as a national holiday. It didn't really get us good times because here we are still
Now,
finding our country.
now,
I know
see,
that. I know it's.
I can say so much about Juneteenth where I don't want to break people's heart, Will. But I'm just like, at first, I was like, yay, dude.
That was the
They just
vote, right?
tried to shut us up. Why are we celebrating Juneteenth?
Yeah.
We never should have been slaves. Our ancestors should never been slaves anyhow. So what they do was, so we're gonna shut them up a little bit because we're gonna give them Juneteenth. So then they'll forget about what happened to George Floyd with the other one and with Brianna with this and here. So we're just gonna shut them up because we're gonna give them Juneteenth. Well, they can take Juneteenth and stick it so far up their behinds as they can get it, as far as I'm concerned. And people that when I came up, where do you come from?
Where we come from?
Hello?
Baltimore. Right.
Hello, where do you come from? Baltimore?
Right.
I
County.
thought I came from Florida. So what did Juneteenth do for me?
People still
Was
working.
there anybody else killed after Juneteenth? Huh?
What kind of holiday is it? They don't even treat it like it's a serious holiday. They don't even want you to teach about it in half the states in the South. They don't talk about it because
My daughter doesn't even. She worked 2 different jobs, and again, the area worked 2 different jobs, and they both didn't give up for MLK. So.
Shoot, they gave us Juneteenth quicker than they gave us Martin Luther King Day. What the hell?
just in a hurry
Because
to do
everybody was
something.
acting up, right?
Yeah. So let me shut these good down for a minute and quiet them and give them Juneteenth. They're allowed to celebrate that. We freed them. Go the So once you read up on some stuff and educate yourself, for no one, my next question is why people dressing as Africans on Juneteenth? I was not born nowhere near Africa. I was born a Black American. Were you born in America, Leslie?
I was.
Right?
So you're white American, right?
That's right.
Will, where was you born? Huh? You're white American?
White America.
So why, with me being black, means I'm Black African? My grandparents then came from Georgia, man.
Right.
I have nothing against Africa,
Just what that means.
but I'm not an African. I am a Black American.
And you've literally been in rural Pennsylvania since you were a child.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that you and your brother were the two first integrated children in Franklin County?
And Rose and Francis Jones. But me and my brother, this is funny because we sat there when the bus, because we wait for some black folks to come off the bus at Franklin Township and Cashtown, and there was none. No, like, oh no.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that's terrifying, though, right?
You just don't know how terrifying it was. Like,
drive into this place and it's all full of people that, I mean, up till now didn't even want you around. What the shit?
you know, the most whites I ever seen, because I'm from Florida, which wasn't going. I went to Maxie. That was all black school. You know, now I'm saying no blacks, and everybody getting off the bus is white people, white people, white people. Like, oh Lord, no, something right here.
No, that's terrible.
But and I was in grade school, so you could just imagine. And the teachers tried very hard. Well, my mom made it clear unless something happened to her kids, that was for number one. But But I had one teacher, she was not having it, and she tortured me every day in class. And she didn't know the word Negro. She had to use the other word and would look at me and say, "You know what I'm talking about, Anita." Now, as a little kid, that's kind of hurtful. You're the only black was in that, in that class. And where it got to be a mental thing where I literally was getting sick.
Right.
Well, every time I knew I had that class, I was running fever. Mom,
Yeah.
My constant microaggressions. I mean, that's terroristic, really.
yeah, and my mom takes me to the doctor. Doctor's like, "There's nothing wrong with her.
Well,
There's something going on in that school."
What's happening to her in her environment?
Right. I was like, it sounds like there was something wrong for sure.
Yeah, so mom find out, with the word "in" going around. You scared to tell your mom, because my mom didn't play when it came to her kids. And then we rode a bus where the bus driver, God bless her little soul, which she became a nicer person after my mom had to get with her, and she wasn't very nice to us. White people did not have assigned seat, but we did. And you know me, I still got the same mouth I had then. I'm going to sit where in the hell I want to sit at. So that didn't go too well. Then, she threw my brother off the bus because we refused to.
Well, you haven't changed a bit since then.
No. Not when and like SOP, it was me and my nephew Mackenzie together. And all of this was weighing so heavy on my heart about what was going on. And I'm like, I'm going to start an organization. And we came up with so many different names. So I'm like, Save Our People. So that did not mean just black people. That means any people that's in need or help. Because not only blacks are getting beat up, we're the majority that's getting beat up, but Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, some whites.
Everybody, I think at this point, I think the poor white don't understand just how under attack. They want we want to keep trying to make it into a racial thing, and we want to keep trying to. Right. It's all the oppressor. Exactly.
White people better or worse than the other. That way, we're not noticing that the guy at the guy here at the top counting all of our money for us and deciding how much we get to take home at the end of the day. And the common enemy that they want us to dislike each other for. That's why when you asked me before if I was a white American, I kind of hesitated because white's a stupid word because I'm like, nobody's white.
Yeah.
And that's white. We're peach. We're demelanated. We're tan. We're, you know what I'm saying? And there's.
Well, I call myself pecan tan.
There's so many variations between some people that are more of a chocolate or an espresso or a mocha color, and you can see different variations and shades. Some people have honey-colored skin, but nobody's white. Nobody's black.
Right.
You don't see that except for like an extreme. And when you reach those extremes, then you're like, yeah, that's the dude who's white is white, or that's the dude who's as black is black, and nobody judges that because it's a fact. But other than that, those are not really race. It's all spectrum of where you grew up on the equator.
And then another thing, at the end of the day, we all bleed the same, right?
Yeah. You tell me if you got a heart transplant or a blood transfusion. Tell me which blood droplets came from what color person.
Let me tell you, just save my life. I don't care who blood you give me.
Yeah.
Don't they HIV positive or dying or something else. Give it to me, please. But my mother, I made a statement, and you and Leslie is one that I'm very honest with about my feelings as far as white and black. I made a statement. I said I would never date no one white.
Right.
Okay. That's a true statement. And not because I'm racist. So I'm called racist because of that. But I'm not. I love everyone. Now, some of those I don't like, But God didn't say I had to like them. He said I had to love them. But and I also made a statement. I never wanted my sons or daughter to marry outside of the race. Okay, once again, I'm called racist, but I'm not.
I know you got reasons.
My son Lawrence Williams, at I think it was 16, because he was driving. He was in the Gettysburg Park, like 5 minutes after the park closed. Him and his girlfriend, which was white, he was stopped by the what you call them that be in the park ranger.
Right.
You know, all they had to tell him was, hey, the park closed at 8 o'clock. It's 8:05. You guys need to leave the park, or give him a fine if you think he needed a fine for being in there 5 minutes late.
Right.
You pull my son out of the car and went back and asked that girl, was she okay?
That's insulting.
You treated him horribly because he was black with a white girl.
Yep.
I was on my
That
way.
was my only fear. You know, I don't care who my sons love. If they love white, black, blue, or brown, I don't care. Long as they treat them, gonna love them. But I always had that fear. You said what happened to you at 16? Because you was with a white girl? People
Yeah,
act like it's so acceptable.
That's for
But
sure.
a lot of areas it's not acceptable. You might go to a town and be spit at because they see you walking with a white girl, or that white girl walking with the black dude. I never want to put my son in that harm or have to protect
Right.
himself over he's married to a white girl or dating a white girl, or him being mistreated because he is. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I do understand what you're saying, and of course, as a mother, I want the same things for my kids, and as a white mother, I don't deal with those things. Because even if my children, date a person of color, I go. I mean, sometimes they get a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be quite as much. Usually with my daughters. Let me say that.
Right.
But around here, a lot of times, when we grew up, it was a very regular thing. Again, in Baltimore, it was not a thing. My daughter lives in Pennsylvania now. I mean, the guy she's with is white now, but I could see that
There's a big difference.
being a thing.
Difference in the location.
I think the location is a big deal. But what is frustrating about it is that, again, like you said earlier, is that it's 2023 and we're still even dealing with that. Why is that even a thing? You've got these white supremacists that are like, oh, well, we're trying to be conquered. They're trying to race mix everybody so that there won't be any white race anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think raped their way across the continent ever?
Like I don't even understand. Like, so we want to specifically not be diverse and intentionally not allow people to be together to preserve what exactly? Like,
Yeah.
I don't, even if you can sit there and say all you want that, oh, I'm not racist. I just, my heritage, whatever. I'm not even going to get into that. It's whatever. But that still doesn't make any sense to me that people going on future generations and race mixing would be, like you said, it is a real thing. I mean, just in Hanover, Pennsylvania, there was that race riot or whatever it was in the 90s. In the 90s. I mean, that's really not that long ago.
No. So, but I still want to make this statement. I have a lovely daughter-in-law. She's white. I love her.
She is lovely.
Yeah, I would not pick no one else for my son. But
Right.
that was the way I felt. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't trade her for the world. And both my sons date white girls, and I love, and when they dated, even though You can feel some tension in some of the family because Black culture is different from a white culture. I'm going to get that straight. We eat differently. We season differently. We talk differently. There's a lot different from a white family. But, you know, we have to get used to each other. It just take a change. We're going to take a quick break.
Jesus Christ was a handsome man. He had nothing to hide. He said, give bread to the hungry. Bring the homeless inside. Jesus Christ was a dangerous man. That's the way that he died. Saying, be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like. Dr. King was a preacher. He had God on his side. He said, all God's children are brothers. Don't cast your brother aside. Dr. King was a dangerous man. That's the way that he died. Saying, be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like. Jesus Christ was a handsome man. He had nothing to hide. He said, give bread to the hungry. Bring the homeless inside. Jesus Christ was a dangerous man. That's the way that he died. Saying, be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love. Love everybody you like.
Okay, Anita, I think you're muted. Sorry, we've been having some technical difficulties with our camera. All right. Sorry. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?